In 2018, county voters supported ballot question D that expands negotiating authority for the Career Firefighters Union. This month, County Council member Jessica Fitzwater unveiled a bill to make that happen. Councilmember Fitzwater said her bill supports county firefighters, gives their union a greater voice in the negotiation process, and balances the legitimate needs of public safety workers with the council's obligation to protect county taxpayers.
The firefighters collected signatures in order to get that on the ballot, and then the voters approved it in 2018. Now, nothing in our charter or anywhere else in the county code gave us a particular timeline or deadline for making sure that we took that on, but it was important to me that we make sure that the will of the voters came through, that we made sure that we were protecting our firefighters.
Fitzwater was inspired to create this bill based off of fulfilling the county's charter amendments.
So what that charter amendment does is require the county to expand collective bargaining for our firefighters to include not just salary and benefits, which they could already negotiate, but also working conditions. The second thing the charter amendment does is require us to have a process for binding arbitration. And what that means is the county and the firefighters come to an impasse or they can't agree on a contract. This puts in a new process for an arbitrator, a neutral arbitrator, to come in and help, and we've never had that process before.
Last year, Fitzwater hosted several work groups to gain input on what needed to be in the bill.
I'm also a teacher and a member of a union myself, so it was important to me that we make sure that we give our union a strong voice. So what I did is I put together a work group. It included 2 representatives from our local Career Firefighters Union, local IAFF. We also wanted to make sure that we heard from the volunteer firefighters. We also had representation from our Human Resources Department, as well as Acting Chief Tom Coe and the CAO. So we wanted to make sure we had all the voices at the table, and of course I had our council staff, Sydney Klimko and Attorney Brian Black there to help us out on the legal side of things.
Fitzwater wanted to model parts of the bill that other adjacent counties already had in place.
So we had each agenda, each meeting, sort of focusing on different topics, focusing on management rights, focusing on how would we define working conditions, focusing on how would we define an impasse, how would we know we actually got to that point where there was a disagreement, and then laying out both a process and timelines. We actually modeled parts of the bill off of some other counties, including Montgomery County. This was something that really everyone in the work group agreed on. We very specifically are defining what the management rights are.
What I passed around was kind of our suggestion that we were asked to bring for the subject matters for bargaining and then management's rights stuff. From looking through the various ordinances, because they're all over the place, but there definitely is in every single one of them the management rights portion, which I feel is important, like we've all discussed, and we kind of looked through, but they're kind of a little bit all over the place, and came up with these proposals for it.
The purpose of the bill is to create more transparency.
We wanted to make sure that we are balancing the needs of our public safety workers along with the needs of the county taxpayers and all of the other demands that are on the county budget. And I think we did that very well in the bill by making sure we had a process that fits into our budget cycle, that fits the charter language and fits in with our budget process that's outlined in the charter, just to make sure that we have a transparent process and a process that everyone could feel comfortable with. I hope that it will make Frederick County continue to be an attractive place for people to come work, including in our public safety sector.
Former Board of Education member Joy Schaefer is now the Director of Government Affairs and Public Policy for Frederick County Government. She is succeeding Roger Wilson's position, who recently resigned. We had a chance to sit down with Schaefer, and we asked her what she will be bringing to the table for Frederick County Government, as well as what are some of the pressing topics that she will bring forth to the Annapolis General Assembly that begins on January 8th.
On the school board, which is an elected office, I got used to advocating quite a lot at the county level, the state level, and the federal level for our school system's needs and our county's needs. So I have a lot of experience advocating for our positions, and I'm happy to do that for the county and advocating our county's legislative positions. And I also built a lot of relationships across all of those, county, state, federal government. So I feel like that's a really important part to make sure that we move forward in our priorities. I think this session especially is going to focus on education and both operating money for education as well as construction dollars. So I bring a lot of expertise around those issues. And then looking forward to moving the county's legislative package forward, as well as working with our delegation on priorities that dovetail nicely with our own priorities, helping out our delegates also in Frederick County.